Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to be covering this question, how is social media marketing affecting my website traffic? So some of the points that we will be covering in this section include the introduction to social media analytics versus web analytics, what concepts are similar, what concepts are different. We're going to help you through some plotting, a demonstration of plotting sessions via social media by traffic source. So this will be a way for us to attribute different our traffic or our revenue according to each social media platform. We're going to be combining those insights using our business dashboard, interpret the results, and kind of give any recommended actions. And then towards the end, we're going to take a step back and look at some of the next steps. This, of course, is just an introduction to this combination of social media analytics and web analytics. And I'm going to walk you through some principles, some additional tools that you can use in order to really use these tools in combination effectively to continue to help your website's performance. So the title of this video is Utilizing the Power of Social Media to Maximize Website Performance. Some of the points we will cover include what sort of approaches are there to measuring social networks and their effect? How can we determine the most valuable social networks? And what sort of additional insights can we get through social networks that we can't get if we're just using campaigns and Google Analytics tools? So the big question is, always comes down to how are visitors getting to your site? More specifically, when it comes to social media, it is which social media platform results in the most traffic, or which platforms translates to the most conversions. And of course, these may not actually be the same. Perhaps Twitter would be a great way to reach the most customers, but let's say Facebook results in more revenue. Which do you want to spend more effort on? Well, that depends on your goals and what you want to do for your site. And so this sort of combining social media tools, those types of analytics with web analytics is a way to answer those questions effectively. And then how can each platform be used most effectively is also a very special question too. If you have something that's a lot more photo driven like Instagram or Pinterest, you're going to be using it a little bit differently than LinkedIn or Twitter, which is more text or link based. And so the types of strategies that you use to increase your effectiveness, increase conversions, increase traffic are going to be a little bit different for each social media platform. And one thing that we sort of want to focus on is traffic and revenue, and which social media platform results in the most traffic and revenue. So if your objective is to use social media to increase website traffic or website revenue or both, there are going to be some principles for you to follow. So there can be many goals, but this one set of principles will certainly help you reach those goals effectively. We want to create what are called SMART goals. And they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And so we'll go through these one by one. So first, we want our goal to be specific. And one thing that is pretty obvious is that the more specific you are, the better you will be able to accomplish your goal in the future. And so we want to be really specific. We want to ask who, we want to ask what, we want to ask where, we want to ask when, we want to ask why. We also want to be measurable. So the M in SMART is measurable. So here is where we would actually use a metric. Is your goal measurable? Like perhaps you want to increase customer loyalty. Well, how are you going to measure that? This loyalty can sometimes be understood kind of as a concept or a feeling. But Google Analytics, of course, provides different ways for us to measure that. Albeit there's no perfect measurement, but they can certainly be used in combination to measure whether or not your customers are becoming more or less loyal to your site. And the reason why you want these goals to be measurable is because you want to know when you reached your goal. More loyal is not a very measurable goal, whereas having 1,000 more subscribers to my newsletter is a very measurable goal. We also want our goal to be attainable. We want to ask the question, is our goal realistic? Is it possible to reach the goal that you've set? Let's say you want to have increase your exposure on, let's say, Instagram. Is it possible for us to have 25% market share on total Instagram traffic? Certainly not. However, maybe a more attainable goal is a smaller number of first maybe 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. These are all goals that certainly have been achieved by other people, and it may be possible for us to reach that goal if that's what we want. Relevant are the R. Here is how your goal relates to really everything else. How does our goal relate to our objectives? How does it relate to our vision? How does it relate to our values? Is it really getting us closer to where we want to be, or is it kind of distracting from that goal? And that's really something important to remember because tools like Google Analytics and social media, there certainly are a lot of tools. There's a lot of ways that these tools can be used. There's ways of analyzing, of really going really deeply into that analysis. But at some point, you have to ask the question, is it really going to help? And that's where the R comes in. Is our goal relevant? And now T is something that many people forget to do, but it's something that can really help you reach that goal effectively. And T is time-bound. So we want to give our goal a deadline. Let's say, let's go back to our Instagram example of getting 1,000 followers. Let's say we want that by the end of 2 months. That's a very different goal, or we would approach that goal very differently than just, I want to get 2,000 followers, without really saying whether it's going to be 2 months or 6 months or a year. You're certainly going to put a lot more work into that goal if you have a specific deadline in mind. So just an example of this, here's a summary of all those acronyms again. Here's a wonderful example of a SMART goal is I want to grow my Facebook page from 60,000 likes to 100,000 likes by June 24th, 2018. So that includes all of the components. The S would be grow my Facebook page. The specific number is 60,000 to 100,000. It is realistic probably because you're not starting off from 5 likes. You're not starting off from 100 likes, but you're starting off within sort of the same order of magnitude. And let's say we want, and then we also have a goal at the end too. So it'll help us really help us gauge whether or not we're getting close or if we're moving quickly enough towards that goal.